Hi, my name is Lisa. I'm a Youth Services Librarian at the Watauga County Public Library, part of the Appalachian Regional Library System in the mountains of North Carolina. And for 3 years, I was the project manager of an IMLS LSTA grant-funded project that we called Alphabet Ready. And if you're interested to know more about all the components of that project, I will link to other videos about that in the description of this video. But for today, I just wanted to tell you about one aspect of that grant, and that involved the fact that we created backpacks around each letter of the alphabet. And so this video is just going to be kind of an unboxing of what's in our backpacks to give you ideas or inspiration for creating something similar. And even though these backpacks are specifically a letter D backpack, you don't have to create one backpack around one letter. We had a branch library that didn't have room for 26 backpacks, and so we created a backpack that encompassed, 4 or 5 letters at a time, and I could also tell you more about that in the description below. But for now, I just want to show you what was in the backpack that we created in the first year of the grant. And we were very much focused on trying to give parents a concise resource that would help them interact with their children around the ideas of alphabet recognition and phonological awareness. So we have a tip sheet in here that gives them some suggestions of how to use these materials. But the first thing that was a real hit in every backpack that we created in year 1 were Alphabots. And these are transformers that turn into robots. And I usually have a pretty hard time doing it myself. The kids are much better at this than I am. But there's the letter D Alphabot transformed, and I can't tell you how many parents came and asked, where to purchase those so that their children could have a full set to play with. Then we also got these from Lakeshore, uppercase and lowercase magnet boards so that children could be able to differentiate the difference between a capital letter D and a lowercase letter D. And we also got these puzzles that had I think they all had 5 pieces. Very simple, puzzle around the letter D. So again, showing the upper and lowercase d with the pieces of the puzzle. And then in the backpack itself, there was always a puppet. This puppet happens to be a dentist. And again, capital and lowercase so that children associate those two symbols as the same letter. We included a sewing card. And then another thing that we kind of created, we went on Etsy and found a lady who makes these folding flannel boards, and then just got some felt letters and flannel pictures, and we only put the focus letter, in this case letter D, and one other letter, and then pictures that the children would be able to sort out between those two letter and letter sounds. So just trying to make it simpler for especially younger children to think about the sounds that letters of the alphabet make. So we had one of those in every backpack that we made in year 1. And then the best part of all is the books. And what made these books something that we would consider to put in a letter D backpack is just the fact that there was a letter D in the title at the beginning of one of the words in the title. So I'll share some of the titles that are in here, but I also wanted to show you that we did include a tip sheet that gave parents some extra ideas of why this is important and fun ways that they could incorporate, fun other things that they could incorporate with their children around the shape and sound of letter D. So again, as I share these titles, these are just, what we came up with. I would love for others who stumble across this video to include in the comment section other titles that you would suggest that people could use to create a similar resource, because it may be easier for you to get different titles than what we had. And this is just what we picked in this particular year. Like I said, I would just love to make this a richer resource for others by having you all give us some feedback in the comments. But one of the books that we chose was How Do Dinosaurs Stay Friends? And we encourage parents to have their children, especially the young children, find the capital or lowercase letter D in the title of the book. And then just read the book to the children. Just have fun, but let that kind of initial part of reading the book together just be a letter D scavenger hunt in the title of the book or even in the author's names. So another book was on a magical do-nothing day. And We Are the Dinosaurs. Now, the nice thing about this book is that you could go to YouTube and watch Laurie Berkner perform the song We Are the Dinosaurs. So that would be a great extension activity to go along with this book. The kids could act out the song and act out the book. And again, just see if the children could find capital letter D in the title of that book. I love this book, Deep in the Swamp. It's a take on Over in the Meadow with swamp animals. And it's always nice when well, first of all, the illustrations are very nice. And then in the back of the book, they give you some extra information, nonfiction information. I love when books do that. Of course, probably everybody's familiar with Dog's Colorful Day. And then another favorite of mine is Different, Same. And I wanted to show you how this book works. So basically, on any given page, there'll be 4 animals. And the words on the page, first of all, is a great vocabulary extender. But we'll talk about how they're different. So I stalk, I race, I root, I roam. But look closer now. We all have manes. So even though they were different, there was something similar about those animals. And that's kind of what the kids are going to be prompted on each page. They'll talk about something that's different about each animal, but they need to look closely to find out what do all these things have in common. And I love the concept that, we may look a little bit different, but basically we all have something in common. So those are the resources that were in the backpack that we created in the first year of the grant. But in the second year, we were going to make another set of backpacks, and we didn't want to make them exactly the same. So we asked, since we were working in the schools, asked the kindergarten teachers if they had suggestions of how to make the backpacks different. And they specifically asked for STEM-focused topics, and if we could include books that were early readers, at least one book in the backpack, because in the backpacks of year 1, it really was pretty much all books that an adult would read to the children. So, and to kind of meet that need or that desire, we created what we call STEM backpacks, but we still wanted to have a focus on alphabet recognition. So we got a magic board and a printing practice card, just one card for each backpack, that children could interact with the shape of a capital letter D and a lowercase letter d, and then they can just erase that when they're done. And that was kind of one of the things we did to satisfy alphabet recognition. Then we tried to put a game in most backpacks. The letter D backpack ended up that instead of a game, we gave them some dinosaur puppets to interact with. And then the books for the STEM backpack, sorry about that, were, some of them were on a lower reading level. So this is Deer, and the, not so much text on the page, so that kids can practice some of their reading, even though that would be very hard for a kindergartner to read. It is going to be, it's a lot less text, a lot less overwhelming. I loved this series that we found because it turned out to be pretty hard to find bilingual books. I could find Spanish or English, but very few bilingual on this easy, or not easy, nothing's easy about reading, learning to read, is it? But on a lower reading level. So I wanted to share that. Then we got a Fly Guy book, Fly Guy Presents Dinosaurs. So some nonfiction bent on the Fly Guy character. I really enjoyed this little kid's first big book of dinosaurs. So here the child is going to have to do a little bit more searching to find that letter D because it's not prominently featured in the title. But I like that there was great illustrations and not an overwhelming amount of text. And then an Abdo book on Diplodocus. Wanted to just give you again kind of an idea of the text load on these books. And then we did a seek and find because we know that the skill of looking to find these animals in a picture, that same skill is what children need to develop to be able to see differences in the letters of the alphabet. So that's just a fun way to work on that, if not genuinely alphabet recognition, it works on the skills that would help with alphabet recognition. And again, we created a tip sheet for parents to interact with the materials in the backpack. And in year 2, we put on the back of every tip sheet a RAN board, which that stands for Random Automatic Naming, and it just gives the children, and we gave ideas of how to make this a game, a fun game, where children become more automatic in their ability to recognize a specific letter of the alphabet because you only use 3 or 4 letters on this grid that they need to differentiate between instead of having to differentiate between 26 letters or 52 if you count upper and lower case. So those are the things that we included in our backpacks. Again, would love to have your input on other ideas and things that would make a good resource for parents and children to use and be able to check out of the library. That might help us out as we maybe need to replace titles or resources for these backpacks. So I hope that helps somebody in some way. That's all I've got. So in the words of Tigger, ta-ta for now.